This is Jamie Drummond for Good Food Revolution. I am here with Charlotte de Béarn from Château de Jonquières here in a rather special part of the Languedoc. How are you this afternoon?
I'm very good, thank you.
Now, you come from a winemaking family with quite a bit of history, but you just recently got into winemaking and viticulture yourself. Please tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, indeed. So the Château de Jonquières is in the Terrasses du Larzac area in south of France, Languedoc, and it's a winery, a chateau from the 12th century. And since the 12th century, it has never been sold, always transmitted in the same family. And with my husband, we represent the 32nd generation living here and making wine here at Jonquières.
32nd generation?
32nd generation, without being sold.
That's fantastic. Now, you also told me something quite fascinating regarding your family winery's relationship to Canada.
Yes, indeed. Actually, in the archives in the chateau, we have found this price list from an importer in Canada, in Toronto exactly. And
it was in Toronto?
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Yeah,
okay.
yeah. And in that price list, we can see wine from Château de Jonquières, of course, which is quite interesting. But what is the most interesting for Languedoc, widely, is the following thing. You may know Muscat de Frontignan and you may know Sauterne. Well, at that time they were sold at the same price, so $12 for a dozen. Same price for Muscat de Frontignan and Sauterne. Today you can multiply by 10, 20 or 30 between the two wines. So that's the proof that the Languedoc was able to make good wine, or as good as Bordeaux, in 1870, because this price dates from 1870. And it's really the bad reputation that we had during the first part of the 20th century, which ruined the reputation of Languedoc. But actually, it's not that new that Languedoc is making good wine again. It's been 30 years that the Languedoc is making good wine again. But before that, the Languedoc was able to make good wine, and that is really important to know. It's not that new.
Now, you are making wine in a very, very specific region of the Languedoc. Would you mind explaining something about that for our readership?
No, with pleasure. So, Terrasses du Larzac, we are in the Larzac here, which is a high plateau at 800 meter high. And the terrace is the terrace géologique, so the foothills of the Larzac, so all the vines are around that. And we really benefit from the wind, from the cold wind coming from the north, coming from this plateau.
From the Massif Central,
yeah. Exactly. And we benefit also, of course, from the sun and the heat that we have in Languedoc generally. So for the winemaking, for the grape making, basically, because grape is before wine, we can get this balance between sugar, tannins, but also acidity. And we have acidity, which is a good balance to the sugar and generosity that we have. So we are able to make really fine wine with fineness and freshness and elegance.
I think it's the freshness that really stands out, for me anyway, compared to many of the other regions of the Languedoc. And it was only recently that that appellation came around, was it not?
Yes, it was recent. So I'm quite young, so I can say it. My parents before were working on it.
Yes.
But it's been 10 years, more than 10 years, that Terrasses du Larzac appeared. That the movement, the people were starting to talk about Terrasses du Larzac and this area. But the AOC was recognized in 2014, so 3 to 4 years ago.
So previous to that, all the grapes would be, for the most part, going into Château de Languedoc.
Château de Languedoc mainly from the 70s. And then beginning of the 2000s, Terrasses du Larzac started to appear, so we were producing Languedoc sub-appellation Terrasses du Larzac.
Right, yes.
Now we are producing Terrasses du Larzac, but we are still in Languedoc, of course, and this is our family anyway.
And which grapes do you happen to grow here?
Yeah, so here in Terrasses du Larzac we have 5 grapes, mainly Mourvèdre, Syrah, Grenache, Carignan and Cinsault. They are the mains.
Now, which do you feel are the grapes that perform the best within your sub-region?
Well, hard question, but Carignan is really coming back to the stage. Can I say that? For my winery, we have our oldest vine is Carignan, planted by my great-grandmother 18 years ago, and it is really good, really characteristic from the Languedoc. So I will never erase it from the from my grapes. Then Mourvèdre is really good. Mourvèdre can grow just at the really foot because if it's too high, it will not ripe
Yes,
well.
yeah.
But Mourvèdre is really interesting. Well, they have all of them have their characteristic, and Cinsault is more fine, less tanniny.
Less alcohol as well.
Alcohol.
Yeah.
So you will have it for the first wines, let's say, so more fruity wines. You can have it also for the top wines, but it will give like more low alcohol, yeah, more fineness also. So I think that blending is really an interesting thing to do between the 5 grapes.
So assemblage, the blending, is a very important thing for your region.
Yeah, because the terroir is really important. When you drink our wines, you can feel the fruit, of course, the red fruits, but you also feel the earthy taste. You feel the garrigue, you feel the herbs.
The garrigue is something I love in a wine, so that's a good thing.
Garrigue is so good in the wines, and even the earthy taste, the smoky taste, and the smoky doesn't come especially from the wood, but it can come from the earth, and which is really interesting.
Charlotte, thank you very much for joining us today at Good Food Revolution. We really appreciate your company and your time today.
Thanks to you.
Bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye.